They say if you want to have a good podcast, you should ruthlessly judge all of your listeners. So that's what we're going to do today. We have 12 listeners competing right now in a mock draft, and we're just going to sit there and observe. And also, Ben Schrager is going to spread his wings today and analyze the draft along with Heath Cummings. Ben, great work on the draftathon yesterday. You made the engine go. We appreciate it, and welcome to the show in the analyst chair.
Heck yeah. No, great job last night. You, Adam, 4 hours of hosting. Couldn't pull off the Scott Hansen, though. You had to go to the bathroom at some point. Kind of disappointing.
To the bathroom. I'm convinced.
Nope, not at all.
We're actually at pick 6 right now in this draft. I have a co-owner who did not show up, it seems. So it looks like I'm just going to make a draft pick here. But Heath, hello. How are you?
Yeah, I am. I'm here and excited about it.
Okay, good. We're all a little exhausted. The picks are, coming in, and just going to go through the news and notes here. I'll give you the first 5 picks of the draft so far. It's Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, and Alvin Kamara. I have the draft on pause. We'll resume it in just a minute. But this is a 3-receiver league, PPR, and a flex. So actually, it's a 2-receiver league. My bad. So 2 receivers and a flex, and it's full PPR. So we'll see how running back heavy people go at the back end of the first round. Heath, let's talk about Leonard Fournette real quick, because since we did the emergency pod this morning, Dave and I, Bruce Arians spoke. He said Ronald Jones is still our guy. Obviously, we can't take him at his word. But what did you make of Bruce Arians' comments, and where are you on the Bucs backfield right now?
I take him at his word for week 1. I would expect Ronald Jones is going to start against the Saints, and I think it'll be really interesting after that, because he's probably not going to do very well against the Saints because they have a very good run defense. I'm still in the camp that Fournette is a high-end number 3 running back. I've got him at RB 25 or 26, right in that range. And Ronald Jones is a borderline number 3, high-end number 4. We're doing a non-PPR mock draft right now. Dave Richard took Fournette with the 4th pick of the 6th round, and Fournette was my top running back in my rankings when he took him. So I think that was a fair place to do that. Ronald Jones, has he been picked yet? Yeah, he went later in the 8th. So I think that's probably where you'll see those guys settle in. You can't start either Tampa Bay running back week 1.
Well, I mean, I might have to in our 14-team league. Everything changes in a 14-team league, I suppose. But that's Ronald Jones, and he's going to start. Right? Who knows what Fournette's role is? You know what? We'll see what the reports are leading up to week 1. We don't have to make the decision right now.
I mean, Arian said that they hope to have Fournette in a role week 1. So I think best case scenario for Ronald Jones is that week 1 he's doing what he did last year, and Leonard Fournette is Peyton Barber.
Yeah, which would mean goal line work. But we'll see how it plays out. Meanwhile, the Seahawks signed Josh Gordon. Give me your take on that, and then we'll look at some of these draft picks.
Probably not going to draft Josh Gordon, but if you're in a 20-round draft or an 18-round draft, I could get it. It gives me a little bit more concern for DK Metcalf, but I was never getting DK Metcalf, so I'm not that concerned. I'm more concerned for you.
I don't know. Josh Gordon didn't do anything for them last year. He played 5 games. He had almost no role. He's a deep guy. I was wondering, does it affect Tyler Lockett more than DK Metcalf, since Gordon is
no, because Tyler Lockett runs the full route tree. Tyler Lockett plays in the slot. Tyler Lockett's targeted underneath and deep. I don't know.
Okay, I was just asking.
And is Josh Gordon even reinstated yet?
Not yet.
That still has to happen. All right, so here we go. We're looking at this mock draft right now, and let's go through the first round. Again, 2 wide receivers and a flex, and it's full PPR. Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Michael Thomas, Lamar Jackson, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler. So I think we're just going to kind of look at these teams as they go. And
I think the Lamar Jackson pick was an auto pick.
As these teams keep making their picks, we'll look at the teams. So the 12th team, Adams Bad Takes, great team name. Austin Eckler, Miles Sanders, with their first 2 picks. What do we think?
It's a very good start.
If they had seen Joe Mixon was still on the board and taken him instead of Sanders, I would have been all about it. But yes, great start at the turn.
So Josh Jacobs just went. All right, so we had Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, Lamar Jackson all go in round 1. This team 11, Derrick Henry in round 1, Travis Kelce in round 2. So that would be JDM team 11 here with Derrick Henry and Travis Kelce.
It's an excellent start.
Josh Jacobs was picked. So Josh here picked 10, went Julio Jones in round 1 and Josh Jacobs in round 2. Yeah, what's wrong with that?
I don't know. Like, Tyreek Hill is still on the board.
Yeah, I'd rather have I'd rather have Julio than Tyreek, but it's debatable.
You're not taking 2 receivers there, though, are you?
No, I would have rather had one of the running backs who went after Julio and then get Tyreek Hill when it comes back.
Okay. And then the guy with the 9th pick, Josh's football team, has Devontae Adams in round 1 and now Nick Chubb in round 2.
Excellent.
I like it a lot.
So who else? But Joe Mixon's still there. That's weird. So but Heath, Tyreek Hill is still on the board. So why do you like that pick when
Like, he obviously wanted to have a running back. It's a 2 wide receiver league. I was saying the Tyreek Hill thing in response to the Julio Jones pick was a question, but like, it's in a 2 wide receiver league. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking Chubb over Tyreek.
All right, so now on the clock is Carry On Swiftly to the Galladay, which is a good team name, but unfortunately this manager did not show up yet. So he has Lamar Jackson in round 1. I'm going to pick for him. I think it's time to take Joe Mixon in round 2. Joe Mixon going fairly late. That was 17th overall.
Higher than I have him ranked, I believe, but yes, later than he normally goes.
Right, exactly. All right, so nothing really stands out except for the Lamar Jackson pick, which is probably an auto pick. Kenyon Drake now. So that would be the team that with Michael Thomas now is Michael Thomas and Kenyon Drake. All right, nothing out of the ordinary so far. This is the 6th pick in the draft. This is supposed to be me and a guy named Don, but Don didn't show up, so I'm drafting for this team as well. I took Clyde Edwards-Helaire in round 1, and now it is time to take Tyreek Hill. The best running backs available, just so everybody knows. Aaron Jones, James Conner. Yeah, I like them, but Tyreek Hill has to be the pick, right?
Yeah, that you said nothing out of the ordinary, and that's certainly out of the ordinary that he's available at pick 19.
Yeah, in a full PPR league for sure. All right, Ben. So right now, Kevin is on the clock. Cheapy's picks. In round 1, he took Alvin Kamara. In round 2, he just took George Kittle. What do you think about that?
I would have gone Aaron Jones there. I am so confident in the late round tight ends this year that I don't want to take Kittle mid-round 2. I know Heath disagrees. A lot of the guys here disagree, but I would have gone Aaron Jones, lock in 2 really high-end running backs.
Like, when you say confident in the low-end tight ends, you're confident they're going – because, like, when you drop from Kittle to even Evan Ingram, Hayden Hurst, you're probably giving up, 3 or 4 fantasy points a game, 5 fantasy points a game? So
Up
you're
to
confident in those guys getting within 5 points of Kittle?
Finishing in the top 8, top 6, being within 4 points, and I don't know how I feel about running backs in rounds 5 through 7 outside of Mark Ingram. So I'd rather wait on the tight end.
Well, they're pretty messy, and this is a PPR league, so that's not good for Ingram. But I know Ingram's your guy. Yeah, the running backs around 5 through 7 are just messy. We'll get to them for sure. The next 2 picks after Kittle, the next 3 picks were wide receivers: Chris Godwin, DeAndre Hopkins, and DJ Moore. And now we're waiting for Bills Mafia, Jason Book, to make his picks. He took Christian McCaffrey, and now we're at the turn. Let me see who's got running back. Adam's Bad Takes with the 12th pick had Eckler and Sanders. That is the only team to start running back. Let's see what Bills Mafia Jason Book does here.
Yeah, we usually see Connor and Aaron Jones in the second round, at least recently.
Wow. What hypothetical here? You have McCaffrey. What if you go? Remember, this is 2 receivers only, and you start a flex and it's PPR. What if you go McCaffrey, Jones, Connor?
I went Barkley, Connor, Carson, and you absolutely hated it. So I'm not sure that it's a good idea.
Was that a 3 receiver league though?
I think it probably was. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a big difference here. So he went with Cooper Kupp with pick 24. So through the first 2 rounds, only one team went running back, and that was the team that had the 12th pick. I think that's pretty interesting.
It's unusual for sure.
Yeah. All right, so Aaron Jones and James Conner still around at the beginning of the 3rd round. As we wait, Jason Book is milking the clock. He has taken all this time here. All right, that's all right. You can think about it. You've got Cooper Kupp.
You think he's thinking about Mahomes right here?
That's a good call. Who do you think he's going to take? I think he's going to take Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I'll say James Conner. It was Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. What do I win? Snickers? God, did I eat a lot of Snickers yesterday? 3 Snickers.
What was your total? 3?
3.
How about Snickers talking trash to you on Twitter?
What did they say? I thought they were complimenting me.
They said, looks like you need a Twitter or need a Snickers, but you've already had one.
Okay, yeah, that was an insult, wasn't it? All right, the second team, the Saquon Barkley team, just took Mike Evans. That gives him, that's the Sombreros. Saquon Barkley, DJ Moore, and Mike Evans. The third pick is the Ezekiel Elliott team. Ezekiel Elliott, that's Hasta La Visca, baby. Oh, Heath, using your team name.
Outstanding.
Ezekiel Elliott, DeAndre Hopkins, and Kenny Galladay. The Dalvin Cook team, Chipotle Bra, just took Dalvin Cook, Chris Godwin, and James Conner.
I really like that start.
Yeah? Ben, you feel confident in Conner, like kind of in that group of the potentially elite running backs? Or not?
Exactly.
Not the super elites, but the...
No, the workload will be there. I'm a little scared with the injuries, but everything, we haven't seen a lot in training camp from anyone, but all of the reports have been that it's James Conner's backfield until he gets hurt.
All right, Heath, this is the Kamara team. Cheapie's picks. Alvin Kamara, George Kittle, who did return to practice. By the way, Miles Sanders is now listed as day-to-day instead of week-to-week. That's a good thing. Alvin Kamara, George Kittle, and Allen Robinson.
My top player available.
Okay. Allen Robinson. The other wide receivers available are Ridley, Juju, Thielen, Beckham, Lockett, Woods, McLaurin. The running backs available, it's Chris Carson's the best one. Then it's Gurley, Gordon, Taylor, Bell, etc. My team is on the clock now. Wasn't supposed to be my team. I have 2 Chiefs. How about that? Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Tyreek Hill.
At this point, you would be foolish to not take Patrick Mahomes. Yes.
You're right. Patrick Mahomes, I love it. I love it. That's great. Pick it out of the 6th spot. I don't know how realistic that – it's not realistic. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes. I love that start. That's terrific.
Well, it's possible in our drafts, and it just happened in a draft that wasn't our draft, so it's possible.
That is so fun. People are commenting on the Chiefs stack. How cognizant are you of other people's teams when you're drafting? I have sort of tunnel vision. I'm really just focusing on my team and like the teams that are right next to me, basically.
For me, it depends where I am. If I'm in the middle of the round, it's very tough for me to see what other people are doing and care about it because I don't have much of a choice in strategy. But if I'm towards the end of either round, I am studying up on all of the picks the guys around me are making.
Okay, let's see what else is going on here in this draft. And then, Ben, you can promote some things. You always just tell me what to promote. I'll let you promote. After my Mahomes pick, where are the latest results? My apologies. Mahomes. A.J. Brown goes to 8 Eekid. I don't know what your team name is, bro. But let's see what he's got so far. Francis has Michael Thomas, Kenyon Drake, and A.J. Brown. Something interesting about that team. What do you think about that? Michael Thomas, A.J. Brown, and Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, it's a little early for me for Brown, especially in full PPR. But there's upside on that team for sure.
All right, so now I'm drafting for the team that has Lamar Jackson and Joe Mixon. I think we're going to go with Juju Smith-Schuster here.
Not Chris Carson?
No, I can't go 3 rounds in a PPR league without a wide receiver, I don't think. I really like Juju also. I'm going to sort by Heath's rankings. I think that makes the most sense as Heath's on the show. Lamar Jackson, Joe Mixon, and Juju Smith-Schuster. It's even more surprising that Patrick Mahomes fell to the middle of the 3rd round with Lamar Jackson going in the 1st round. So that means like there were 5 teams in round 3 that could have taken Mahomes and didn't have a choice of taking Jackson, and he fell. Calvin Ridley off the board now. So let's take a look at the Calvin Ridley team. That's Josh's football team. Josh's football team so far, picking 9th, Devonte Adams, Nick Chubb, Calvin Ridley.
That's maybe my favorite team.
Really? No, your favorite team is my team. Mahomes, Edwards-Helaire, Tyreek Hill.
But it's your team.
Robert Woods. Robert Woods going 34th overall. Too soon?
It's and I said this today on HQ. The separation in PPR between wide receiver 7 and wide receiver 18 is almost nothing. Every once in a while, like it happened with Juju, there were quite a few reports about how Claypool was doing well and Washington was doing well and Ebron's really developed chemistry. And so I dropped Juju's target share by 1%, and he fell from wide receiver 8 to wide receiver 18.
Get out of here.
So that's how close they all are. So I wouldn't argue, if you take a wide receiver that's in my top 18 as a top 12 wide receiver, I'm not really going to argue with you.
Fair enough. Did you move Juju down to 18 or did you just leave it?
Not all the way to 18 because I didn't want to put him behind Beckham. I didn't want to put him behind Thielen, but I did drop him. Yeah.
Okay. So taking a look at round 3 here, it was Aaron Jones, Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay, James Conner, Allen Robinson, Patrick Mahomes, A.J. Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Calvin Ridley, Robert Woods, Tyler Lockett, Adam Thielen. There really hasn't been any bad picks except Lamar Jackson in round 1, which we think is too early, but that was an auto pick. So let's just grade these teams through 3 picks. Let's start with the first pick, Bills Mafia. They have Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, and Cooper Kupp.
That's A-.
A-.
All right, let's go to the Sombreros with the second pick. Saquon Barkley, Mike Evans, and DJ Moore.
I'll go A.
A-.
Hasta la Visca, baby. Ezekiel Elliott, Kenny Golladay, and DeAndre Hopkins.
C+.
B-.
C+.
You don't like this one? What's wrong with this team? What do our listeners need to know?
Well, full PPR, I don't think Kenny Golladay should go in front of all the wide receivers that went in round 3.
Okay.
And then also, I don't like DeAndre Hopkins all that much.
Okay. All right. So it wasn't a strategy thing. It was just the players. Not Heath doesn't like them quite as much. The Dalvin Cook team, pick 4. This is Jake Hankenmeyer, Chipotle Bra. Dalvin Cook, James Conner, and Chris Godwin. Well, Dalvin Cook, Chris Godwin, James Conner. Ooh, yeah, I like this one.
A.
This is a good
A+. Yeah, we'll go A+.
All right. And then the Alvin Kamara team picking 5th. Cheapy's picks. Kamara, Kittle, Allen Robinson.
A-.
B+.
Then the 6th pick, which I'm picking for Don. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tyreek Hill, Patrick Mahomes. A+.
Like, really, if I was fairly grading that team, I would probably give it a B-.
Really?
Because you took Clyde Edwards-Helaire earlier. Like, who did you take Clyde Edwards-Helaire ahead of?
Michael Thomas.
Yeah, right. Well, if you are convinced that he's the number 6 running back, then I could understand taking him there. Right. There's no real reason to think that, though, is my point.
Oh, why you really don't think so? I'm going to resume the draft here and let these.
I'm not saying that he can't be a top 5 running back. I'm just saying, like, the idea of, like, yeah, he's definitely better than all of these running backs that were top 10 running backs last year. When we're talking about him splitting carries.
I can't say definitely, but I think he has I personally think Clyde Edwards-Helaire has a stronger case than anyone else. I probably, Miles Sanders would be.
What do you think? I guess this is my question. And I've been waiting to do this a little bit, so it's good to do it with just you. What do you think? Like, what are you expecting in terms of Clyde Edwards-Helaire's touches?
17 a game, at least, but with like 4 of them being catches. So no, maybe more like 18, 19 a game.
Not
in week one. Not in week 1.
Right. That would be a ton. What do you expect for like Alvin Kamara and Austin Eckler's touches? Like not that many, right? You think he's more of a feature back than they are?
Carries, I would think he would get more. I think pretty similar to Kamara. What is Kamara? He's like
he's an 80 catch guy every year, and
like
Patrick
200.
Mahomes has not targeted his running backs like that because he throws downfield.
He's like 200 carries.
Maybe pace last year. I don't know that he's ever actually had 200 carries in a season.
I don't know. I'm thinking like 13 carries, 4 catches.
Yeah, and
that's too much.
That I do not think that is a fair expectation for a running back of his size on a team like the Chiefs that's going to be very pass heavy that generally throws downfield. But it's possible. That seems more like an upside to me than an expectation.
Okay. Let's go to round 3 here. Todd Gurley, Terry McLaurin, Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell.
It's round 4, right?
Round four. Still 39th overall, Le'Veon Bell. 40th overall, Keenan Allen. Come on. Are these good picks? Gurley, McLaurin, Bell, and Allen?
They're picks that nobody else wants to make, but I don't know that they're necessarily bad picks. I mean, Andy Holloway took Le'Veon Bell 6 spots earlier than this in our draft. And that was a league where you started 3 wide receivers.
Right, and he knows what he's doing. So, wait, auto pick. We got to back that one out. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'm picking for this manager here. This is the team that has Lamar Jackson, Joe Mixon, and Juju Smith-Schuster. We are on the clock with the 5th pick of round 4. All right, I think Chris Carson has lasted long enough.
That makes the Le'Veon pick a bad pick, the fact that Chris Carson was available.
But who else is available? I mean, look at all of these wide receivers. Cooper, Beckham, Sutton.
You set it up to only start 2 of them. Like, they're going to have good wide receivers available 3 rounds from now.
So you're really saying Le'Veon Bell 39th overall is a good pick?
I'm not saying it's a good pick. I'm saying it's not a mock-worthy pick. Like, I'm not taking him now until round 5, but there are a variety of ways he could justify a 4th-round ADP.
Are there any Chiefs I can take for this team? Mahomes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Tyreek Hill. It would be a reach, right?
Wait until the double-digit rounds at this point.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I could take Kareem Hunt. He used to be a Chief.
It's true.
I'm going to take Melvin Gordon for this team. Melvin Gordon gets the pick here in round 4, excuse me. All right, so round 4 so far is Gurley, McLaurin, Le'Veon, Keenan Allen, Chris Carson, Mark Andrews, and Melvin Gordon. So let's see what the team that just took Mark Andrews is looking like right now. That would be Kenyon Drake at running back, Michael Thomas, A.J. Brown, and Mark Andrews at wide receiver.
Yeah, I think this guy likes Ben Gritch.
I think so. This is Francis Roth, who's very light on running back. Any takeaways from you, Stracker?
On that team, not really. My biggest takeaway right now is the Keenan Allen pick. I know we're really down on Amari Cooper, but if Amari Cooper has his 6 spike games that he has every year, I think he's a better value than Keenan Allen. He shouldn't be a top 12 wide receiver, but I don't think you should take Keenan Allen over him, where we know nothing about that Chargers offense, and Allen has not been a stud.
See if you can find Keenan Allen's. Oh, I can probably do it.
Wait. Allen has been a stud in the past.
He was a top 3 years?
Last year, he was a top 8 wide receiver in this format.
It was a bad year for wide receivers. He really didn't have that great. But
okay.
he did have a lot.
Was he a stud last year, though? Like,
a lot of
top 8 last year?
But there's a caveat to that. Like, they're going to throw a lot fewer passes this year. And
I think
we're going to have
yes, they are probably going to throw fewer passes this year. I think there's an overstatement of how certain we are that the number of passes Tyrod Taylor threw in Buffalo is directly correlated to the number of passes he's going to throw for the Chargers.
But do we then think they're going to run a ton with Eckler and the other 2?
That's what everyone else seems to think. I am very uncertain of that. I think it's a combination of what has this team done and the coaching staff, and then what has Tyrod Taylor done. And it seems like more people are just leaning all the way towards Tyrod Taylor's career while also saying that he's not very good. And if he loses the job to Justin Herbert, you're probably seeing the Phillip Rivers Chargers offense.
With the worst quarterback.
Phillip Rivers was terrible last year.
I'm not expecting Justin Herbert to throw. He threw for like 45. How many yards did Phillip Rivers throw for last year? Justin Herbert is not going to be on that pace. I feel very confident in that. I know Rivers was bad and he threw a lot of interceptions, but he still actually threw for a ton of yards last year. Right? Can somebody?
He attempted a ton of passes last year, so I assume that he did go well over 4,000 yards. Yes.
All right, more picks here in round 4 after Mark Andrews. Melvin Gordon, Jonathan Taylor, Amari Cooper, Odell Beckham. We're coming to the end of round 4. 2 picks left. Anything really stand out there? What do you think about Jonathan Taylor, 44th overall? Tyler Boyd. I've never seen Tyler Boyd go 47th overall. Wow.
That was a mistake.
Yeah.
But no, Jonathan Taylor there is fine. All the running backs now have upside, but there's not too much certainty. I like David Johnson over him. David Johnson's still on the board, but I totally see the risk of David Johnson.
David Johnson just went 48th. Heath, who do you like, Taylor or Johnson?
Johnson, yeah, pretty easily.
Okay. Oh, damn, was hoping Tyler Boyd would make it back to me. Nice pick, says Josh M. What pick does Josh have? Josh has... So here's the thing, right? Josh has the 10th pick, I think.
Okay.
And the guy who had the second pick had 2 picks before Josh. So Matt, the sombreros, took Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd, 47. If you really wanted him, you had to take him around 5, not round 4. There was almost no chance that Bills Mafia, who has the number 1 pick and picks 48 and 49, was taking Tyler Boyd. It would have been very surprising. So don't take him 47. Take him 50.
I mostly agree with you, but my biggest regret always is when I take that mindset and someone else takes the player I want.
Yeah. Well, it happened to me in the podcast league, but I really don't think. Yeah,
I mean, this is a random league with random podcast listeners. They have no idea anything about each other's likes.
But Tyler Boyd is so much lower in the rankings. That was the thing.
It's true.
Let's see who he takes now. He took Michael Gallup here. The last 2 picks after Boyd were David Johnson and Cortland Sutton. So we got 5 picks for a couple of teams. So let's take a look at their teams. The McCaffrey team, Bills Mafia, is McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, David Johnson at flex, Cortland Sutton, and Cooper Kupp. I don't know why. I do like this team. I don't love it, but I like it. Sutton and Kupp at wide receiver, Aaron Jones, McCaffrey, David Johnson. No thoughts? No comments?
I did not hear the question mark at the end of that line of
We're having
words.
a conversation.
Sorry. I understand. I understand.
All right, so let's see. The Sombreros with the second pick. They've made 5 picks so far. As Zach Ertz and T.Y. Hilton come off the board. Take a look at the Sombreros team. Saquon Barkley in round 1. He's the only running back so far. Oh, man, what interesting picks.
Yeah, I don't like this.
So I don't think this is a good strategy. Remember, only have to start 2 receivers. He's got Saquon Barkley and 4 wide receivers so far. So he's probably going to have to hammer running back at some point. Barkley, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Michael Gallup, and Tyler Boyd. I'm going to make a pick if anybody wants to. Ben, why don't you take a look at Asa LaVisca, baby, who had the 3rd pick, took Ezekiel Elliott, and has made 5 picks.
He's made 5 picks so far.
Mm-hmm.
Asa LaVisca, baby. He has Zeke Elliott, Kenny Galladay, DeAndre Hopkins, Zach Ertz, Odell Beckham Jr. So Zeke, 3 wide receivers, and a tight end.
I don't hate the strategy. He's got a good tight end. I don't like the actual players that he selected, like almost universally.
So if you had taken your top 3 wide receivers in those positions with Zeke and Zach Ertz, would you be cool with this draft?
Well, let's see what he had available to him.
Let me just recap in case you forgot. So he has Zeke, Hopkins, Galladay,
but when he took Hopkins, he could have had DJ Moore. So let's say Zeke, DJ Moore, and then when he took Galladay, he could have had Allen Robinson or Calvin Ridley, who I'd prefer. So Zeke, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Zach Ertz. And then when he took Beckham, he could have had Cortland Sutton. I'd probably take Beckham. So, yeah, if you told me that was the team, Moore, Ridley, and Beckham, and Ertz at tight end, and Zeke at running back, I would like that a lot.
I think a lot of people, though, would prefer Hopkins and Galladay to Moore and Ridley.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yep.
Ben, who would you rather have, Hopkins and Galladay or Moore and Ridley?
Hopkins and Galladay. It's tougher in PPR. I think in non-PPR it's a no-brainer, but I would rather have those two. I love the upside of Heath's guys, and I totally understand why he loves them, but a lot of it is upside.
Yeah, I would rather have Galladay in non-PPR than if this is non-PPR, I would love Galladay there. I think Hopkins might actually get worse in non-PPR.
I don't know. I don't know that the volume, I think we're relying on him to get that yards per target up to where it was when he was a lot better 2 years ago. I don't know that the volume is going to be there. So I don't know how to differentiate the guy in PPR and non-PPR. It's just DJ Moore I like a lot more in PPR.
All right, we're going to pause the draft after 6 rounds. I'm going to recap some of the teams. Let's do the teams I picked in the back end here. So Adam's bad takes. We'll start with Adam's bad takes. Best team name so far. This was the 12th pick, and obviously 13 as well. Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, who we just took 60th overall, and Todd Gurley at flex. Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Todd Gurley.
I
am totally cool with all those picks.
I think only 2 quarterbacks off the board so far, right?
Just 2.
This is a podcast league draft if I've ever seen one. All right, let's see JDM's team picking out of the 11th spot. Justin, Derrick Henry, falling to 11 in PPR. I know it's PPR, but it doesn't usually get that far. Henry, Kareem Hunt at running back at RB2. So let's see if he loaded elsewhere. Kelsey at tight end. Tyler Lockett and Terry McLaurin.
Excellent.
Henry, Hunt, Lockett, McLaurin, Kelsey.
I like it.
So far, so good. Let's see. Josh R. Time. Josh Jacobs and Le'Veon Bell. This was the 10th pick. He took Julio Jones in round 1 and Josh Jacobs in round 2. Jacobs and Bell, Julio and Robert Woods, and Marquise Brown at flex.
I'm feeling like C here.
Yeah, it feels okay, right? Just okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's see the team with the 9th pick. Josh's football team. Nick Chubb and Tariq Cohen. Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, and Keenan Allen. Nick Chubb, Tariq Cohen, Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen's a good flex in PPR. Very good.
It's fine.
Yes, but Tariq Cohen is like Tariq Cohen's his RB2.
Like you have an elite number 1 wide receiver. I think we'd all agree on that.
Devontae Adams.
An elite number 2 wide receiver. We all expect.
We all hope. Yeah.
But he was a solid number 2 last year, so either way.
Mm-hmm.
An elite flex, I would expect, unless we think he's going from wide receiver 1 to not good at flex.
But you're comparing it like Todd Gurley as a flex. Who are the other flexes in this league? Todd Gurley, David Johnson,
Odell Beckham,
T.Y. Hilton, Marquise Brown, Cam Akers. Yeah, Keenan Allen's fine in that group. Sure.
I wouldn't call him elite compared to that group, but fine. I just think Heath disagrees with this, but I think he has 2 flexes starting right now. I don't know that we can call Tariq Cohen an RB2 when David Montgomery is probably going to be back in 2 weeks.
Right. He's a low-end RB2 or a high-end flex, one of the two. But when you have the second best wide, like when you're really, really good at a couple of spots, you're going to have 1 or 2 spots where you're not great.
I don't think picks or through 6 picks. No, it's 5 picks. I don't know. I wouldn't be happy with this team. Nick Chubb, Tariq Cohen, Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, and Keenan Allen. You would be happy with that?
You don't like Keenan Allen or Tariq Cohen. So I think you took Tariq Cohen around too early. I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But you don't like those 2 players, and I do. So that's the main thing.
I like Tariq Cohen. I just think he's kind of a low upside play. But Tariq Cohen is a great RB2 if you are like stacked everywhere and you just fell into Tariq Cohen. He's your RB2. I mean, but I don't think that's the case here.
So Kareem Hunt went 2 picks later. Does that change your view at all, Adam? If he had gotten Kareem Hunt instead of Cohen?
That'd be much better.
Yeah, I think so. Much more upside, that's for sure. All right,
probably the same results, but the theoretical upside is there with Hunt.
Yeah, the injury upside. All right, we are resuming the draft. Devonte Parker, 61st overall. Will Fuller, 62nd overall. Ben, do you think that's too soon? I know he thinks that's too soon for Fuller.
For Fuller, I'm fine with it. I think it's too soon for Parker.
So, Heath, you're taking Preston Williams over Will Fuller?
No. What? No.
Oh, so then maybe it wasn't that soon for Will Fuller. Did I misspeak?
No, I think it probably was. I wouldn't take Preston Williams here because I wouldn't have to, but I would take him next round probably.
But he's your second highest ranked wide receiver left.
Correct.
AJ Green, Preston Williams. So I guess you just don't like the wide receivers right now.
Right. I'm usually taking my second running back in this round.
It is. Leonard Fournette is his highest ranked running back. It is time for the quarterbacks. Dak, Wilson, Watson, Kyler to start coming off the board.
They should all be gone. Yeah.
We're in round 6. Raheem Mostert was just picked. Darren Waller was just picked. Oh, I got to make a pick here for the team that has.
Really feel like Mahomes is not feeling as good when those guys come back in round 6. Like that's a thing that may happen to you.
You know what, Heath? I have felt that way every single draft because every single draft, there's always great quarterback value. So I think if you take Mahomes or Jackson in round 2 or 3 or whatever, you just have to accept the fact that there's great quarterback value later, and you have to live with it, and you just have to say, these guys still have the potential to be so much better than everyone else.
But imagine if you'd not taken him in round 3, but you'd used your first or second round pick on one of those guys, and then you had seen all these great quarterbacks. That's why we tell people not to do it.
Yeah, right. DeAndre Swift goes after David. I took David Montgomery for the Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, there are just a lot of running backs still available, it seems. Like when you said Preston Williams, your number 2 wide receiver left, there were just a lot of running backs and quarterbacks that needed to be drafted. And probably like we are getting into, I guess Waller's gone, but Ingram, Henry, and Hurst are all still there as well.
Yeah, well, I'm on the clock with this Mahomes, Edwards-Helaire, Tyreek Hill team that also has Melvin Gordon and DK Metcalf. I've got Evan Ingram in my queue. I don't love the running backs here. Best wide receiver available, AJ Green. Yeah, I'm going to take Evan Ingram. And that's the thing. You've heard me say it with Jamie at the great or late tight end thing. I don't usually get Evan Ingram, but considering I already have a quarterback, this would normally be a quarterback round for me, round 6. I love getting quarterbacks 3 through 6 in round 6. Since I already have Mahomes, sure, I'll go tight end there. So I took Evan Ingram. So now that's Mahomes, Edwards-Helaire, Melvin Gordon, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, Evan Ingram. Jarvis Landry off the board. We are at pick 69 overall. That was a random. I don't know why I picked that number.
You know what? We need to rewind for a second because I may have said something wrong. You said, I know Heath thinks this is too early for Will Fuller. Ben Schrager said, I'm okay with Fuller here, but it was too high for Parker. And you said, so Heath, you're drafting Preston Williams ahead of Devonte Parker.
No, I said ahead of Will Fuller.
The answer to that is yes.
Okay. And you're drafting Preston Williams ahead of Devonte Parker?
I'm just waiting until Parker's taken, and then I'll take Williams. I don't think anyone else is anywhere close to that yet. So,
Julian Edelman, 69th overall. Julian Edelman's so interesting. Like I've been talking about this. He went 92nd in our podcast league draft. He went 69th here, both PPR leagues, both 2 receivers.
I think he's hurt a lot by a 2 wide receiver league. My perception of him is like, is he going to be a top 20 guy? Is that his upside?
Well, why don't we take a look at the team that took Julian Edelman and see what role he's playing, because that is his 4th wide receiver.
Yeah.
So he has no tight end or quarterback. Dalvin Cook, James Conner. This is the team we love. Dalvin Cook, James Conner. We loved it through 3 picks. Chris Godwin, Amari Cooper, T.Y. Hilton, Julian Edelman.
Man, it was like that. That's where you seize a chance to be great and go
Dak
get
Prescott
Dak.
right there.
Yeah,
My goodness.
You know what? You're right. This is a great time to take a quarterback instead of Julian Edelman, but Chipotle Bra is going to get one of those next 4 quarterbacks with his next pick if he wants them.
Right.
He's up in 4 picks, and we still don't have any of those quarterbacks gone. DeAndre Swift, Evan Ingram, Jarvis Landry, Julian Edelman, J.K. Dobbins, Leonard Fournette, All right, Leonard Fournette went 71st overall.
That's about right.
Ben, what do you think?
I'm cool with him there. I'm cool with him earlier in round 6. I think the sky is the limit, and the upside is better than any other running back in that range other than Kareem Hunt. In round 6, you're not expecting Fournette to be your RB2 week 1, but he could be a stud with Tom Brady. We just don't know much.
Okay, so the Saquon Barkley team took Fournette. That was the Sombreros. Let's take a look at that team and see what kind of role Fournette is playing. Oh, that's his RB2. Saquon Barkley and Leonard Fournette, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Tyler Boyd, Michael Gallup. Still no quarterback, still no tight end, but he's back on the clock after Fournette. Bills Mafia took Singletary and A.J. Green. All right, Sombreros comes with Dak Prescott. So there we go. 74th overall, the third quarterback off the board.
Should start a run.
Yes. Okay, Dak Prescott, Saquon Barkley, Leonard Fournette, DJ Moore, Mike Evans, Tyler Boyd at flex, Michael Gallup on the bench.
Just swap Gallup and Boyd. Get Gallup in your flex, and I love your team.
But he's going to have to take more running backs. You're not starting Leonard Fournette week 1. So he'll take more.
But he can start Marlon Mack or Kerryon Johnson week 1.
Good.
Will be interesting to see if they make it back.
I think Kerryon Johnson has the Bears, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Like they've had some, they've lost some pieces. The Bears defense is a mystery.
They lost Eddie Goldman. He opted out. They do have Hicks back. Missed a lot of time last year. Let's see. So Dak Prescott goes now. James White to Asta La Vista, baby. This has got to. Hunter Henry goes, Chipotle broth. You had it. You could have taken Kyler Murray. You took Hunter Henry instead.
If you don't like Hayden Hurst, I kind of understand that because that's the end of a tier if you don't like Hurst.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so who's the next best tight end? It's Hurst, and who else? Like the Gronk, Higbee. Well, people like Higbee. Higbee, Gronk. Yeah. Hey, Heath, are you moving Zach Moss ahead of Devin Singletary?
I'm not ready to do that yet. I don't know,
Jamie is.
Because
there was a report just came out from The Athletic that if Devin Singletary continues to fumble in the regular season, he could lose his Zach Moss could take over as the primary running back.
Yeah, I guess that's a possibility.
That happens with a lot of backfields. If you continue to fumble, you could lose your job.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm on the clock right now with the 78th pick. I've got a team with basically a starting lineup. I've got 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a quarterback. So I need a flex. So I'm basically just looking best player available here. The best wide receivers are Crowder, Marvin Jones, Brandon Cooks, Preston Williams. I'm just not feeling that. The best running backs, the Dolphins guys, Kerryon Johnson, Marlon Mack, Phillip Lindsay. I think Ronald Jones, Zach Moss. I think I'm going to take Zach Moss here. Yeah. He's lower in your rankings, Heath. 78th, I got him.
Yeah, I would have probably taken Kerryon there, but I think Zach Moss is a fine choice as well. I just like the whole thing with the Buffalo situation is there a chance without an injury that Zach Moss is going to become a feature back in Buffalo? I don't really think so. And if that's not going to happen, I'm not sure that Buffalo situation is good enough to produce starting running backs consistently in a committee.
Is there any running back, though, here that does fit that description? Because I just took Kerryon Johnson for the other team I'm drafting for. Antonio Gibson went in between Zach Moss and Kerryon Johnson, then Phillip Lindsay went. But every running back on the board is in that situation. None of them are featured backs without an injury, I don't think. Maybe Raquel Armstead.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a pretty good chance that Kerryon's a feature back to start the year.
Because there is an injury.
To start the year, but how long does that last? And, I mean, does that even matter? I'm not sure I'm starting him week 1 against the Bears.
Right.
I mean, I could if I had gone that route. Let me see the team that I took Kerryon Johnson with. I have Mixon and Carson there, and I could start him because I have David Montgomery and Kerryon Johnson. So Montgomery's not going to be in play. Yeah, I could start him as a flex. By the way, Ben, Heath, starting to get more interested in David Montgomery as he plummets in draft boards.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty interested in him beforehand, but yeah, I like him a lot in round 7. If he's there in round 8, even better.
Yeah, I mean, the guys you're getting in the same rounds are not like, hey, 3 weeks from now, you're going to get 15 plus touches. Like David Montgomery was never going to be a full workload stud, but he now can actually get some work 3 weeks from now and be good.
Are you buying any of this Cordell Patterson hype, Heath?
No.
I think he'll be 10 to 12 carries until Montgomery's back.
All right, let's take a look at round 7. This 12-team PPR league, 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex. A.J. Green, Dak Prescott, James White, Hunter Henry, Kyler Murray, Zach Moss, Antonio Gibson, Kerryon Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, Marvin Jones, Matt Breida, Jamison Crowder. Does Antonio Gibson belong that high? That would be 79th overall.
I don't think so.
I think it's too high.
What about Matt Breida, 83rd overall?
It's okay. Like that's not too bad.
Marlon Mack's the only one on the board that I would take over him.
Marlon Mack's still available?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
What about Ronald Jones, Heath? Would you prefer Ronald Jones over the Dolphins guys at this point?
No, I would take the Dolphins guys. Both of them.
Okay, round 8, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Chris Thompson, Latavius Murray so far. So now, I mean, we're at the 88th pick. Is it now time to start taking these lottery ticket handcuffs? Latavius Murray, Chase Edmonds, some of them will have some value, but you're really just hoping for injuries here.
Yeah, I just think this is more likely to happen in a league with 2 wide receivers because guys get 4 wide receivers on their team. They're like, well, when am I ever going to use a 5th wide receiver? And so we're just going to draft 1,100 running backs for the rest of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I want to take Ronald Jones for this team, but they have David Montgomery and they have 4 running backs. So this is a team that I'm picking for right now that has Lamar Jackson, Joe Mixon, Chris Carson, Juju Smith-Schuster, DJ Chark, David Montgomery, and Kerryon Johnson. I still don't like the wide receiver value here.
Yeah, I would take a Hayden Hurst here.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea. Hayden Hurst it is. Do you realize that the next 3 tight ends in your rankings? Oh, in fact, Hunter Henry was before that. So you go Henry, Hurst, Higbee, Hooper.
Very important thing to notice.
4 H's.
Glad we did this just so we could let people know that.
Right? Yeah, O.J. Howard next.
Oh, by the way, Greg Allman of The Athletic said that he's not even sure Rob Gronkowski is going to lead tight ends in catches. He did think that he'll lead them in touchdowns. But,
I don't think Rob Gronkowski's a full-time player. He's not a top 12 tight end for me.
Josh Allen just went. So the top 6 quarterbacks are off the board. Josh Allen, number 7, pick 90 overall. You think he should have waited another round or, maybe?
No, he should have gone a round before then and drafted either Watson or Wilson.
Yeah. Well, that is true. But assuming you couldn't do that, is that too early for Josh Allen? 90th?
I don't think it. It's fine.
I have him on a tier of his own, and it's in round 8, so that's fine.
All right. So Leonard Fournette, I think, went 79th. Is that right? No. He must have gone 71st.
I think 71st.
Ronald Jones went 91st. I just took Ronald Jones, 91st.
Yeah, I think that's like half a round later than I have Fournette at, and maybe half a round earlier than I have Jones, but that's right in the right place.
Okay. Some of the picks here in round 8. Russell Wilson, Chris Thompson. How's that pick, Chris Thompson?
Really, really bad.
Really? It's a PPR league.
I just, there is a possibility that Chris Thompson will give you a month of low-end RB2 PPR production before he gets hurt.
But other than the injury concern,
yeah,
is there an expectation that he's going to be on the field a lot and passing down situations? Because I don't love him here, but I do see a bit more upside with Chris Thompson in PPR, pretty high floor if he's on the field.
I think there's a hope that he is going to do that. I don't know, early in the season, sure. You're staring at 0-8 and you're playing Chris Thompson over these 3 young running backs instead of finding out what they have.
I thought you were saying a fantasy team that drafts Chris Thompson is going to be 0-8.
And it's not as it, there was a time, and I think it was 2017 where Chris Thompson lit the world on fire. Maybe 2016 for a little bit too. but that was a while ago.
He's just going to catch passes. I mean, he's going to be their passing downs back. He's got the history with Jake Gruden.
Right.
They're going to be struggling. They're going to be trailing a lot. Yeah. Okay. Well, Heath doesn't like it.
Jamie likes it more. Yeah.
I'm very mad at you, Heath, by the way.
Why?
Because I sorted by your rankings, and you've buried Deontay Johnson, and I passed over Deontay Johnson with 2 different teams in 2 different rounds.
Why in the world?
And he went 92nd.
You should have no expectation that I would have Deontay Johnson ranked higher. This is 17 spots higher than his ADP, and I almost put him in a bust at that ADP.
Oh, go look at Keenan Allen's ADP on CBS. I think it's in like the 70s. Okay. And you were complimenting him in the 4th round. So let's play the.
I wasn't complimenting him. I said I don't think it's that terrible of a pick. Like, I don't understand the hope for Deontay Johnson at all.
Keenan Allen, I must correct myself, in the 50s. Who's in the 70s? DJ Chark, 72nd overall. I know there's a lot of wide.
What does this have to do with Deontay Johnson?
I'm just saying, don't use ADP because I never see Deontay Johnson go 92nd in drafts that we do.
Do you But I know. But I think
that's why we're doing this draft, right?
We get stuck in this bubble where we think that our drafts, for some reason, are more representative than the thousands of other drafts doing by people that don't get paid to do this.
No, I know.
Clearly, our drafts are the weird ones.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is with me saying, why in the heck are you guys drafting Deontay Johnson in the 7th round?
A lot of people like him.
He was a mediocre. Yes, he is a popular guy with fantasy Twitter for sure. I'm saying outside of that bubble, I think people might look at him and say, wow, he was just kind of okay in college and he didn't have a great combine and he had like 700 yards last year and they drafted Chase Claypool, who they can't stop raving about. And they added Eric Ebron, who's living with Ben Roethlisberger for part of the offseason. And Juju's back. How is Deontay Johnson getting more than like 90 targets?
Okay. All right. Especially
I could be wrong.
Their defense is so
I
good.
just don't like. I wish I've asked this multiple times in the podcast and no one has enlightened me yet. I don't get it.
Okay. No, you know what? Everything you said, very good point. So he goes 92nd overall, and after Deontay Johnson,
look at Chipotle, bra. Got a value pick.
With what? With Preston, did you take Preston Williams?
He did take Preston Williams.
All right. Our drafter even called it a spicy chicken strips value pick. That's great. Jack in the Box like that pick. Christian Kirk off the board.
I'm going to give him a great pick, brah.
Sterling Shepard off the board. We're about to be done with 9 rounds, so maybe we should start looking at these teams and break them down, and then we'll just kind of comment on the late round picks, and we'll see the teams that we like the best. Okay, so let's start with pick number 1. Bills Mafia, Jason Book. His team is this: Tom Brady, Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Cooper Kupp, Cortland Sutton, Rob Gronkowski at tight end, David Johnson at flex, with AJ Green and Devin Singletary on the bench.
That's an A. If you had a good tight end, I'd give it a B+.
Yeah, I'm going B. I think he has a great bench with AJ Green and Devin Singletary, but I'm scared of the tight end and Tom Brady. I imagine he could have waited a couple more rounds to get any sort of quarterback in that same Brady tier.
Right.
I will change that to an A- if he's able to acquire Higbee, Hooper, Jonnu, Herndon, like one of the Noah Fant, one of those guys.
So look, he reached a little bit for Brady and for Gronk. He obviously believes in the Bucs offense, but Brady, McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Kupp, Sutton, Gronk, and David Johnson. Okay, pick number 2, the Sombreros. Saquon Barkley in round 1, and Leonard Fournette is his RB2. So Dak Prescott, Saquon Barkley, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, and DJ Moore. Michael Gallup at flex. And you've got Chase Edmonds, Jordan Howard, and Tyler Boyd on the bench.
No tight end?
No tight end yet. But he's in good shape to get himself a good tight end.
That's a B- because you can't have no tight end at this point and be relying on Leonard Fournette as your number 2 running back.
Actually, with tight ends, Tyler Higbee, Blake Jarwin just went. So now we're looking at Gesicki, Hawkinson, Hooper, Herndon. Yeah, he's not going to have a great tight end. He might. He's not going to have a high-ranked tight end. All right, the third pick, Hasta la Visca, baby. Let's see. It does take me a second sometimes to pull up these teams. No quarterback yet. Ezekiel Elliott. All right, look at this team. This team just waited, I think, a little bit too long on RB2, but we'll see. Maybe he's going to start. Let's say he starts Marlon Mack in week 1. So Ezekiel Elliott, Marlon Mack, DeAndre Hopkins, Kenny Galladay, Odell Beckham at flex, Zach Ertz at tight end. Still no quarterback. Deebo Samuel on the bench with James White and Marlon Mack. Oh, no, it's James White and J.K. Dobbins. Sorry, Marlon Mack.
Ooh, yeah, that helps a lot. That is a big, big difference because you've got the week 1 starter that I would guess I'm going to rank as a top 20, 25 guy in week 1, probably in week 2, most likely in week 3, but you've got an early season starter. You've got J.K. Dobbins, who could just be a league wrecker in the second half if something goes his way. And you have James White, who can kind of cover that balance and be a low-end number 2, right in the same range as Tariq Cohen, maybe not quite as good. I like that combination a lot. I on our draft show last night said Tariq Cohen is the bridge to those guys, but I like the combination of Marlon Mack with J.K. Dobbins and James White as the bridge.
All right, so lesson learned here then. He took Ezekiel Elliott with the third pick, and then he sort of went like 1 RB, loaded up on wide receiver and tight end. He's got Galladay, Hopkins. Now, we already talked about this earlier. Heath would have preferred Moore and Ridley, but Galladay, Hopkins, Beckham at flex, Zach Ertz at tight end. You're just like, what are you going to do at RB2? So he took Marlon Mack, J.K. Dobbins, James White, and Deebo Samuel, which I think was a good pick as well. So good. So you can pull that off.
Yep.
Okay. Kerryon Johnson would be in the same range as Marlon Mack for this strategy. DeAndre Swift, if he's falling a bit because of his injury, same range for this strategy. But I think it's a great way to do RB2.
Okay, I'm just going to make a pick here real quick, and then we'll take a look at Chipotle Bra, who had the 4th pick. But this team here that I'm picking for has a full starting lineup, so we're just going to take best player available. And that would be... is there anyone good left other than tight end, which we don't need?
Take Ruggs.
Yeah. No. Darrell Henderson. No. I think I'm Josh Kelly over Darrell Henderson at this point.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other.
Fair enough. Okay. Going to make one more pick here. All right. I'll take Darrell Henderson on this team. Wonderful. All right. Let's now take a look at the 4th pick, which was Chipotle Bra. It took Dalvin Cook. We love the start for this team. Dalvin Cook in round 1, Chris Godwin, then James Conner. So Matt Ryan is the quarterback, Cook and Conner, Godwin and Amari Cooper, Hunter Henry at tight end, T.Y. Hilton or Julian Edelman or Preston Williams at flex. So I think this is a great team, but there is no running back depth. I mean, he's got 2 running backs and in 9 picks.
I would assume, we've already... Yeah, he's in trouble. This is the type of team where I would be more likely to go get Benny Snell. But
James Conner.
He could still draft Tevin Coleman, Nyheim Hines. There's still some low end number 2 options.
All right, so he took Tevin Coleman, but I think lesson learned here for if you take this, 2 running backs with your first 3 picks, which were in the right tier, which were Dalvin Cook and James Conner. Great start. In this league where you only have to start 2 wide receivers, there's no need to take 5 wide receivers before you take your 3rd running back.
The clear mistake.
Quarterback and a tight end, yeah.
The clear mistake was Julian Edelman at pick 69. That was not nice. Dobbins, Fournette, and Singletary were the next 3 picks after he took Edelman.
Yeah.
That was the mistake. But still, I think it's a solid B, maybe even better. If his running backs stay healthy, he's in the playoffs.
Let's look at Cheapy's picks. Kevin McCollum. Picking 5th, took Alvin Kamara. Kyler Murray, Kamara, and Jonathan Taylor. Allen Robinson and Jarvis Landry. George Kittle at tight end. And let's call the flex Cam Akers or Deontay Johnson or Henry Ruggs or Ryquell Armstead maybe. Who knows? Maybe he's a flex. So some options there. I'll repeat the team. Kyler Murray and we just had an auto pick, so I'm just going to See what happened there. And let's back that pick out and resume. Okay. Kyler Murray, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor, Allen Robinson, Jarvis Landry, George Kittle, Cam Akers at flex. And the bench is good. I like the bench. Deontay Johnson, Raquel Armstead, Henry Ruggs. How do we feel, Ben? How do you feel about this team?
This team could have a really slow start, given that Jonathan Taylor and Cam Akers may not have that big of a role early on, and Jarvis Landry may not be 100%. So I'm not a huge fan of this one. This is a C+ for me.
There's boom, boom, boom potential for sure. But
Kyler Murray, Jonathan Taylor are really an interesting pair.
This is the team that you're hoping you're playing early in the year.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Jonathan Taylor and see how healthy Landry is in week 1 if he's back to full go. Cam Akers, right? Good point. Okay, let's see. What pick are we on now? Oh, my team. The great team that picked 6th and took Clyde Edwards-Helaire. That is Mahomes, Edwards-Helaire, Melvin Gordon, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, Evan Ingram at tight end, Zach Moss at flex, although I think Brandon Cooks is probably my flex in week 1 against the Chiefs. And then on the bench, I would have Moss, Ronald Jones, and Darrell Henderson. So I only have 3 wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, DK Metcalf, and Brandon Cooks.
A very Azer team.
It is an Azer team. Yeah. Is that a good thing? Although I hardly ever have Patrick Mahomes.
I just think you drafted a handful of players that you like. It's everyone that listens to this podcast would know that you like more than I do.
Like who?
DK Metcalf.
Okay.
I think Evan Ingram. I mean, he's a giant. Zach Moss.
I don't know how I feel about Evan Ingram. That is
Darrell Henderson.
First time I've taken him, I think. Darrell Henderson, yeah.
But no, I think it's a solid team. I would like another wide receiver for sure.
About to take Desean Jackson. He's my week 1 flex. I am so convinced that Jackson's going to have a good week 1.
Over Brandon Cooks?
Oh, that could be a really rough thing with him starting on Thursday night. He puts up a big game, and then you're waiting on Desean Jackson.
Do it, Adam. Please do it. I want to see that.
Well, what do you think, Heath? I mean, we know wide receivers have often struggled in Arrowhead, right? And the Chiefs might actually have a good defense this year. So this I'd really have to look into. I have to study the matchup.
Like the Chiefs' defense is not going to be good early in the year, I don't think.
Why not?
They have 2 or 3 players that are suspended.
Okay, well. Are you feeling Desean Jackson week 1?
I think that he will be a popular DFS play.
What do you think? That's a non-answer.
I really have a hard time with these types of narratives. That's not the way that I approach fantasy football. And so I'm usually not I'm not going to project him for a much larger share in week 1 than I would in week 4 if he was still playing.
But wait, no, the narrative is not he's facing the Redskins, his former team. He's good in week 1. He torched them last year. The narrative is he's their number 1 wide receiver. They don't have Jalen Reagor. They don't have Alshon Jeffrey for this game.
Yeah, I think Zach Ertz is their number 1 wide receiver, and they're playing a team that they might not have to throw it more than 25 times.
But they may if Miles Sanders is not 100%.
Carson Wentz had 2 huge games against them last year.
Yeah, that's another narrative that I don't generally look at.
But the point is the Redskins, their pass defense last year.
The football team.
Damn it. The football team, their pass defense was bad enough where you didn't have to throw a lot to have a good game.
That's true. That was the case last year.
Yeah, their pass rush will definitely be better this year. Their secondary will probably be a little bit better too.
I'm not saying I dislike it, but I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of narratives working in his favor.
I will be lower on Desean Jackson than the consensus in week 1, I'm certain.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at the next pick. Had the 7th pick. This would be Francis Roth. 7th pick of the draft was Devonte Adams. No, it was Michael Thomas. Sorry. So Josh Allen at quarterback, Kenyon Drake and Mark Ingram at running back. Ben loves this team. Michael Thomas and A.J. Brown at wide receiver. Mark Andrews at tight end. And DeAndre Swift at flex or Christian Kirk. Yeah, probably Christian Kirk or Antonio Gibson. Damian Harris, who might not be ready for week 1, by the way, and Mecole Hardman.
There's been a lot of Damian Harris might not be ready for week 1. Who's going to start for the Patriots now? I wasn't ever like I missed the announcement where Damian Harris was the starting running back for the Patriots.
And Sony Michel is trending in the right direction, right?
And Lamar Miller's fully healthy.
Yeah.
And Rex Burkhead's there.
Josh Allen, Kenyon Drake, Mark Ingram, Michael Thomas, A.J. Brown, Mark Andrews, DeAndre Swift, or let's say maybe it's Christian Kirk in week 1. What do you think about this team?
I like it outside of flex. That's the only spot that I feel like there's a weakness. The wide receivers are great. Kenyon Drake paired with Mark Ingram is good with me, and Josh Allen is a top 7 quarterback.
It's an A for Ben Gretsch. I'll grade for him. And I would give it a B.
Does it bother you that Ingram won't be a big pass catcher? Andrews, as great as he could be, probably won't be a big pass catcher. And A.J. Brown, same thing. They're not exactly PPR guys. Does that bother you at all?
Not a big deal, especially given that Michael Thomas is going to be catching a ton of passes and Kenyon Drake is a great pass catcher as well. But it certainly limits the upside.
I mean, I said when A.J. Brown was picked, I thought that was too early in PPR. So, yeah, I don't look at it on I don't look at it on the whole like that as if catches were a category. But I do think A.J. Brown was too early.
All right, let's go to the 8th pick. Carry on swiftly into the Galladay. Leo, which team I ended up picking. Leo had technical difficulties, unfortunately. Lamar Jackson at quarterback. Joe Mixon and Chris Carson at running back. Juju Smith-Schuster and DJ Chark at wide receiver. Hayden Hurst at tight end. And the flex will be eventually David Montgomery. But in week 1, let's say it is probably
Kerryon
Johnson, Sterling Shepard. Yeah, they're not just going to start shepherding. Carry on. This team ended up being really good.
This is the best Lamar Jackson first round team I've ever seen.
It is good.
Yeah. But imagine, what's funny is like if I had this pick, I may have taken Joe Mixon in round 1 and then I could have taken like Lamar Jackson in round 2. I wouldn't have, but a lot of people would take Lamar Jackson.
I would have taken Mixon there.
In round 1.
In round 1.
Yeah. This team turned out good, huh? Jackson, Mixon, Carson, Chark, because I got Carson around 4.
Seems like he took everyone, or you took everyone who just happened to fall.
Yeah.
Like Carson in the 4th round is later than normal. Mixon went later than normal. I don't remember where you took David Montgomery. I think you took him earlier, but
Carry on fell too.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Montgomery was 6, I guess. Okay. All right, next team with the 9th pick, Josh's football team. By the way, we had a team name in the podcast league, the fantasy football team, which was very funny. Aaron Rodgers, Nick Chubb and Tariq Cohen, Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley, Darren Waller, and Keenan Allen at flex.
This is the team I don't like that much because I'm not high on Cohen and I'm not high on Keenan Allen.
On the bench, we got Latavius Murray, Phillip Lindsay, N'Keal Harry, Blake Jarwin, and CeeDee Lamb. It's a good bench. It's an okay team. It's okay.
I don't like Rodgers either.
Heath, you there?
Yeah.
Rodgers is interesting. What, Ben? Why don't you like Rodgers?
He was efficient last year, and that's all that he had to be. But he had one spike game of 45-plus points, and that was it. He wasn't the Aaron Rodgers that put up 25-plus points a game in a 6-point per touchdown league. And I don't think he's progressing anymore. They didn't do anything to add to that offense in the passing game. I think Devontae Adams will be great, but I don't think he's a top 12 quarterback.
Okay, let's go to the next team there. Josh Artime. Matthew Stafford at quarterback, Josh Jacobs and Le'Veon Bell at running back, Julio Jones, Robert Woods at wide receiver, Marquise Brown at flex, Mike Gesicki at tight end. So Stafford, Jacobs, and Bell, Julio and Woods, Gesicki at tight end, Marquise Brown at flex.
Is there a second tight end on the roster?
No. Chris Thompson, Marvin Jones, Raheem Mostert. Oh, Raheem Mostert's a pretty good flex, or a pretty good option on the bench. Naeem Hines and Darius Slayton.
I don't like it. I think Slayton and Mostert on the bench are awesome, but starting Marquise Brown Where he got Le'Veon Bell, I wasn't a fan of. And Gesicki and Stafford without any backup quarterback and tight end, it's a little scary.
Okay, sorry, guys. If you want to take over for a second, I'm dealing with some draft room stuff.
I will take over right now and plug the things that we have to plug today, because we have a draft kit and there's rankings, sleepers, breakouts, busts. My favorite thing is each analyst has their 5 strategies for how to draft. So you've been listening to the podcast, you know the guys they like, but the strategies, the very simple stuff, cbssports.com/kit to get it. Be ready for your draft. Get it before the weekend. It's updated. It's ready to go. More fun in the 5-minute, 5 quick hitting realm is the brand new fantasy football podcast, Fantasy Football Today in 5. Get you caught up on all the news of the day, just 5 minutes. Download and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, smart speakers, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's 5 minutes. We record it every single night, release it in the morning, and just, listen before you make your bed, before you brush your teeth, as you're making coffee.
Bed.
You don't make your bed?
Not really.
Why not?
I don't know, because it's just gonna get messed up.
It's the same reason he doesn't brush his hair.
You're right. No, you're right.
I never brush my hair. I don't know. I don't know. We don't make the bed that much. It's just, it doesn't get that messy. It's like a little mess. No big deal. I made a big mistake, by the way. Was not really paying attention. I took Jalen Reagor instead of Darrell Williams as the Clyde Edwards-Helaire owner. Definitely should have taken Darrell Williams. We got 2 more teams to review here. The 11th and 12th picks. JDM's picks. Let's see what we got. This was Russell Wilson, Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, Tyler Lockett, Terry McLaurin, Travis Kelce, and Will Fuller. With Boston Scott, Noah Fant, Jerry Jeudy, Matt Breida, and Laviska Shenault on the bench. Starting line, I like this team a lot. Wilson and Kelce, so you're good at quarterback and tight end. Derrick Henry, Kareem Hunt, Lockett, McLaurin, and Will Fuller at flex. I think this is a good team.
There are no holes, and the flex has a ton of upside, and the RB2 has a ton of upside, where you would say are potential weaknesses. So I really like this team.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy, Matt Breida, Laviska Shenault on the bench. Pretty good. All right, our final team, Adam's Bad Takes. 12th pick, went back-to-back running backs with Sanders and Eckler. Finishes with Deshaun Watson, Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Higbee, and Todd Gurley at flex. That's really the key pick, is Todd Gurley. See how that one turns out. So 3 running backs with his first 4 picks. Deshaun Watson, Miles Sanders, Austin Eckler, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Tyler Higbee, and Todd Gurley. Got Devonte Parker on the bench, got Jamison Crowder on the bench, got Alexander Madison and A.J. Dillon on the bench, Van Jefferson, Emmanuel Sanders. Good bench pieces there.
This was very well executed, and this is what happens when you wait until the 6th round and then the 7th round to draft one of these top 6 quarterbacks. You can shape up a great roster and still have a guy who's probably going to finish in the top 6 and could easily finish in the top 3.
All right, so that's the team that went running back, and definitely made it work. Could have had a better wide receiver 2 if not for taking Todd Gurley, but that's okay. I took Todd Gurley as your flex in, I think that was round 4, or was probably the 3-4 swing. And Stephon Diggs, 60th overall as a wide receiver 2. But I love getting Crowder and Parker on your bench. I think if you're going to be a little weak at wide receiver 2, you back them up there with Crowder is a good PPR option, and Parker, who was a top 12 wide receiver last year, but not as good as Preston Williams, according to Heath. Okay. Heath, thank you.
Yep.
You kind of went silent there at the end.
You're just trying to help out.
Okay.
He's helping the kids. He's about to hop on a Zoom call for a $100 donation. Someone got a private Zoom call with Heath, and I'm very excited that Heath's doing it. Everybody's doing it. So that $100 donation to St. Jude is getting Heath a private Zoom call with a listener, and you can go to our eBay store, and it is still open for St. Jude.
That's great, man. That's awesome. Ben, Heath, thank you guys so much. Thanks to everybody for participating in this draft. That was awesome to get these listeners in here. So cool. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great, what is that? Oh, Thursday. We're on Twitch tonight. We'll talk to you then. And we got Chris Harris joining us tomorrow for a mailbag and some IDP talk. See you later.
Want more of the Fantasy Football Today podcast and nonstop year-round fantasy advice? It's simple. Hit the subscribe button and hang with us all throughout the year.